On the eve of our engagement, Ryan decided to call off the wedding, with unprecedented resolve in his eyes. Emily, I'm sorry. Lily and I have a child. The girl from the slums had given birth to his son alone in a leaky apartment a week earlier. His eyes reddened as he insisted. She has no one but me. In the end, I removed my engagement ring. 3 years later, I encountered their little family at a charity gala. The rebellious heir who'd once defied the world for love now tugged irritably at his tie, while watching Lily struggle with their crying child. Didn't I tell you not to come to these events? That night, my phone lit up with a call from a familiar number. Emily, Ryan's voice cracked beyond recognition. I regret everything. Spread before me lay not just a pregnancy report from months ago, but a glaring red marriage certificate. Even now, I couldn't comprehend how the man who'd loved me for 5 years could cheat. It was an accident. Ryan's gaze held no remorse, only steely determination. I've wronged you, but Lily only has me now. The child is mine, I must take responsibility. My fingers froze mid-air as they traced my ring. Frost thickened around my heart. He wanted responsibility for that child. Then what were our 5 years together? As I struggled to respond, his phone rang. I instantly recognized the contact name flashing on screen, wife. Suddenly everything became clear. This wasn't a discussion, it was a notification. A woman's sobs carried through the speaker. Ryan, don't ruin your engagement with Miss Clark for my sake. I only kept the baby to have something to hold on to. Little Riley looks so much like you, just visit when you can. That's all I ask. Her every rejection only intensified Ryan's protective fury. His brows knitted as he stared at me, as though my silence would brand me a villain. How dare he flaunt their marriage certificate while claiming to preserve our engagement? Lily, wait for me at home. I'm coming now. Home? My eyes drifted to the walls plastered with our engagement photos. The irony burned. We'd already taken wedding portraits, needing only the ceremony and license. Ryan had vowed then, "You'll be the happiest, most beautiful bride in the world." Hanging up, he demanded coldly, "Anything else to say?" I couldn't fathom when we'd become strangers. Was it Lily's first appearance in our lives? Or when Ryan secretly rented her that apartment? I thought nothing of it initially. We jointly sponsored many scholarship students over the years. I'd even encouraged their interactions at our family company, believing his explanation, "She's graduating soon and needs internship experience." When we help someone, we see it through. Now everything's settled, she's taking both the person and the money. Tears welled up in my eyes as my pale fingers slowly removed the ring, placing it on the table. Years of discipline and upbringing warned me against making an undignified scene. I pressed my lips together, forcing the tears back. "Leave. I'll never wear this ring again," I said, my voice steady. "Let's pretend our engagement never existed." Ryan seemed startled by my immediate compliance. Recovering quickly, "Don't bother Lily anymore. You know I'd challenge the whole world for her." As if I'd dare interfere. Before I could blink, he'd vanished from the room. The sudden emptiness left me disoriented, my chest aching with hollowness. I tore down our wedding portrait from the wall, tossing it into storage before calling my brother. "It's off with Ryan. I'll go to Germany." Our families had dismissed our conflict as rich boy theatrics, certain he'd come crawling back. They underestimated his resolve while I overestimated our bond. Later, I heard Mr. Johnson came apologizing after my departure, not that I cared to know more. In Germany, I buried myself in studies until memories of Ryan faded. 3 years later, at a charity gala back home, I nearly walked past him. My brother was explaining family business partnerships when I noticed Ryan across the ballroom in a tailored black suit, raising his glass with a practiced smile. We locked eyes. He started toward me, only to be intercepted by a handsome stranger. We met in Frankfurt. Didn't we? I'm Mr. Chi, one of the event coordinators. What a pleasant surprise. Before I could respond, Ryan inserted himself between us. That's a tired pickup line. Mr. Chi. The man feigned confusion. Wait, aren't you the Johnson heir who defied his family for true love? Where's your better half? His theatrical glance around the room made Ryan's knuckles whiten. Leaning closer, the man stage whispered, "Shouldn't you keep distance from other women when married?" Ryan's jaw clenched before he forced a smile. Emily's practically family, we grew up together. Family? My laugh sounded brittle. Was that your excuse when abandoning me before our wedding? I seem to recall you banning me from your and Mrs. Johnson's presence. The color drained from Ryan's face as Mr. Chi's smirk widened. Across the room, my brother remained oblivious to the confrontation, chatting with investors who'd yet to connect me to the Clark family name. Ryan opened his mouth to retort, but the moment shattered when waiters began circulating champagne flutes. The gala's auctioneer announcing the start of bidding. I'm increasingly baffled by Ryan. He's the one who claimed to love me, called off our engagement. Yet now he's circling back again. Are you still blaming me for what happened back then? Ryan looked at me with wounded puppy dog eyes. As though I were the villain here. Blame you for what? It's been 3 years. Ryan. I've moved on. I raised my champagne flute with a polished smile. This toast is to our past. Drink up. And let's never speak of it again. As I drained my glass, I spotted Lily being stopped at the entrance through my peripheral vision. A squirming toddler in her arms. Just like 3 years ago. Ryan vanished from my side the instant he noticed her. One moment he was there, the next. Gone. Miss Clark. Your brother's the lead investor for our new project. The striking man before me extended his hand. Allow me to reintroduce myself, James Chi. I'd nearly collided with his limousine 3 years ago in Berlin during a work emergency. Though his driver apologized profusely, James had insisted on emerging from the car himself to press a business card into my palm, vowing compensation despite my protests. I'd lost the card while rushing to my next meeting, yet mysteriously found $7,000 deposited into my account days later. Now his ability to track down my banking details made sudden, uncomfortable sense. Ryan's irritated growl sliced through the cocktail party's murmur. I told you to stay home with the kid. What are you doing here? He tugged at his collar, exhaustion etching his face as the child's wails escalated. Lily's milk-stained sweater clashed grotesquely with the crystal chandeliers and designer gowns. Guests began openly staring as she bounced the screaming toddler, explaining tearfully that she'd worried about him. When her gaze finally landed on me, it hardened from confusion to panic to outright venom. The Lily I remembered had been all artful vulnerability, a masterclass in strategic fragility. While other scholarship students who'd mentored carried their hardships with quiet dignity, Lily weaponized hers. She perfected the delicate balance between playing damsel in distress and projecting resilient grace, often outmaneuvering me in social chess. Back then, even I'd found her helpless pout disarming. Ryan had sworn he'd only marry someone brilliant and self-sufficient. Someone who wouldn't crumple like tissue paper in the wind. Yet he torched his principles, and our future, for precisely the kind of woman he claimed to despise. The Lily approaching me now bore zero resemblance to that calculated ingenue. 3 years of motherhood had etched permanent shadows under her eyes. Security intercepted her a breath away from me. Invitation. Ma'am? Invitation? My husband's right there. Her shriek could have shattered crystal. The sudden silence made her shrill voice echo. Everyone knows I'm Mrs. Johnson. Since when do I need? Ryan stood frozen across the room, disgust plain on his face as the crowd's patience snapped. The toddler's terrified hiccups underscored what we all understood: this wasn't about invitations. This was the crumbling of a carefully constructed illusion, and Ryan would rather let it burn than dirty his hands. Emily was the treasure Ryan had always cherished. How could he allow others to treat her this way now? Even when I merely glanced at her, Ryan would assume I looked down on her. After their affair came to light, he made me delete Lily's contact before my overseas departure. Emily and I want to live peacefully. Stay out of her life, I don't want her feeling insecure. That was Ryan's final message before my flight took off. I deleted both Lily's and Ryan's contacts. They'd both changed, one consumed by obsession, the other utterly indifferent. To avoid further commotion, I summoned my driver. Mrs. Johnson. The gala's ending. You should leave first. Mr. Johnson will return home shortly. Though my brother had co-organized the event and currently remained unaccounted for, I refused to let anything disrupt the proceedings. What? So you can scheme with my husband? 3 years and you still can't forget him. Lily's accusations grew increasingly unhinged. My sister wouldn't spare your husband a second glance. Security. For guards promptly escorted, more accurately, dragged Lily out. Ryan never once looked her way. His indifference chilling. Ryan. My brother's usually amiable voice turned glacial. The invitation honored your family's standing, not your wife's theatrics. He'd always protected me, even when I'd begged him years ago not to withdraw investments from the Johnson family despite their broken engagement. Keep personal matters separate from business. I insisted. Though Ryan's past financial acumen had proven valuable, only after Lily's removal did Ryan approach. I'm sorry, Emily. She won't trouble you again. The familiarity of those words struck me. His gaze held unsettling intensity. When my brother moved to intervene, Ryan departed abruptly. Miss Clark. Another voice interjected. I trust you won't repeat past mistakes. Mr. Chee's smirk ignited my indignation. Do you think me foolish enough to revisit humiliation? The stifling atmosphere pressed on my chest until my brother offered an early departure. Declining his escort, I chose solitary reflection. Nearing midnight, Lily materialized outside my residence. Disheveled and desperate. Why return now? To assume family responsibilities. I stated coolly. Not to linger over your marital affairs. Our chapter closed 3 years ago. Her venomous retort, you'd better mean it, contrasted painfully with the timid girl I'd once known. The shrill ringtone froze us both. That memorized number flashed on screen. Emily. Ryan's raspy pause hung heavy before I regret everything. I terminated the call, blacklisting his number. Behind me, Lily's frenzied demands for the call recording went unanswered. Regret? He'd forfeited that right long ago. You lied to me about not wanting my husband. Then why are you still contacting him behind my back? I rubbed my temples with a bitter smile. If I wanted to hide anything, I wouldn't have answered that call in front of you. You just want to know what Ryan said. Don't you? Let me tell you myself, he said he regrets everything. With that, I turned and walked away without looking back. The next morning, my brother sat across from me at breakfast. Since you're back, start as project manager. As for the Johnson family's venture, handle it however you see fit. Frankly, their growth potential is mediocre now that Ryan's capabilities have diminished. I nodded silently. Cutting ties with the Johnsons through withdrawing investments suited me perfectly. Arriving at the office, I found a crowd gathered downstairs. At its center stood Ryan's strikingly handsome face. From 20 paces away, Lily's shrill voice carried, I saw you coming to meet Emily. What more excuses can you possibly have? Ryan pressed his lips into that familiar impatient expression from 3 years ago. Must you make a scene? I won't argue with you in public. Through the commotion, I caught fragments of bystanders' whispers. Can't believe how cold he's become to Lily after that grand romance. Men always change after marriage. Even those who abandoned their families for love. Please. She brought this on herself. Started clinging to Ryan like a lost puppy during her maternity leave. Paranoid about other women. Exactly. Remember when her surprise inspection ruined his $1 million acquisition? Sighing. I summoned security to disperse the curious onlookers. The crowd fell silent upon seeing me. Ryan's eyes lit up as he eagerly approached. Emily. You wanted to see me? Lily's glare could have flayed skin as I blocked her lunge toward me. Addressing Ryan, I stated, I'm here to formally terminate our partnership. Sign these documents and leave. I produced the original contract from my briefcase. Our collaboration had been my personal favor initially, backed by substantial funding. Now that Ryan held neither professional competence nor personal significance to me, continuation served no purpose. Lily looked visibly relieved, the weight lifting from her shoulders. Ryan stood frozen, confusion etching his features. From the elevated steps, I finally looked down at him, half a head taller in this reversal of our old dynamic. My rose-tinted admiration had once polished his flaws to perfection. The memory surfaced abruptly, that bright-eyed college boy proposing scholarship programs after I'd praised another philanthropist's orphanage work. In our social circle where charitable donations often lined middlemen's pockets, Ryan's hands-on approach helping rural students attend college had made my heart race. Though undergraduates ourselves, we'd assisted dozens through university admissions. When the work grew challenging, Ryan began making excuses to avoid mountain villages until I persuaded him to visit the Martinez family settlement. There we found malnourished Lily huddled in a pigsty. Fastidious Ryan extended grime-covered hands, we're here to help. Her fractured home life, an alcoholic father's endless beatings, shaped Lily's defensive snarl, I don't need pity. I never learned how Ryan convinced her to accept aid. Blinking away the recollection, I studied the stunned man before me. Anything to add? Panic flickered in his eyes as he reached for me. I slapped his hand away. Still angry with me. Emily? Ryan began. Before I could respond, Lily sneered, how dare you? Remember swearing you'd marry no one but me. I didn't want to meddle in their personal affairs. Seeing Ryan hesitate to sign, I left after instructing him to have the documents delivered once finalized. Ryan must have informed his father about terminating the partnership. As Mr. Johnson invited me to dinner at New Century Hotel that evening, along with my brother. My brother cut straight to the chase, canceling the deal was my decision. Don't blame Emily, she's always followed my lead since childhood. Now, Mr. Johnson chuckled, patting Ryan's shoulder. I simply missed Emily since her return from Germany. Completing a German degree in 3 years? Truly impressive. Had Ryan been more level-headed back then, his voice trailed off, steering the conversation toward past events. I set down my untouched appetizer. I'd expected this dinner to renegotiate the partnership, not rehash old wounds. Mr. Johnson, I interjected. Ryan's an adult who made his choices. There's no use romanticizing roads not taken. Despite my brother's bluntness, the Johnsons pressed on. Mr. Johnson produced a velvet box containing heirloom gold jewelry. This was meant for my son's bride. Emily, you two were childhood sweethearts, destined to be together. Marry Ryan, and I'll transfer all my shares to you. I'm too old for this, only your union keeps me going. Ryan added softly. I've watched your social media for years. Saw you learn German. Volunteer work. I've regretted everything. Emily, give me another chance. My brother slammed his chopsticks down. I steadied him before countering. Why assume I'd repeat past mistakes? Turning to Mr. Johnson, I smiled. Your concern touches me. But Ryan's still married with a child. I prefer uncomplicated arrangements. We truly wish you good health. Exactly. My brother stood abruptly. Young people should explore life before settling. He paid the bill. Our exit punctuating the unspoken truth, the Johnsons' desperation revealed their crumbling empire. Later, Lily appeared at my office. Disheveled. "I'll divorce Ryan," she blurted. "Just save his company. He rescued me from poverty. Got me into college. I'll leave with nothing." As she knelt sobbing, I helped her up. I was the one who dragged him away that day. Her tearful confusion mirrored the absurdity of it all. The man they fought over had been my burden to release, a truth no jewelry or shares could gild. "If it weren't for me, Ryan would never have met you in his entire life. You think his love for you is genuine? It's nothing but gold digging. Even the funds we provided for you, most of it came from me." Lily widened her eyes, shock flooding her gaze. "And let's talk about the Johnson family's bankruptcy. Why didn't Ryan and his father focus on rebuilding their wealth through hard work instead of taking shortcuts? Trying to save their company through marriage? Lily, we funded your college education so you could seize control of your own future. Yet you ended up having a child out of wedlock with a man who was already engaged. Is this how you repay that opportunity?" This was the first time I'd spoken to her at such length. Back when I criticized her for not knowing how to use the printer, Ryan always shielded her. Oh, now I remember. 3 years ago, Ryan warned me not to mess with Lily because of this. I never understood back then, when had I ever targeted her? Even at my most heartbroken, I never considered revenge. The realization made me laugh coldly. "Xiao Zhao. Escort her out." Despite Lily's dramatic scene at the office, we held firm on cutting ties with the Johnson family. Ryan still divorced her, and custody of their son went to the Johnsons, citing Lily's lack of financial stability. But let's be honest, were the Johnsons any better off? After we terminated our partnership, other companies followed suit, withdrawing investments one after another. Their bankruptcy arrived faster than I'd anticipated. Shortly after the divorce went public, the Johnson empire collapsed. Ryan, too arrogant to accept the supervisor position his father had arranged, a job with a starting monthly salary of at least $6,000, remained unemployed. I felt a surge of relief. Thank God I'd left him years ago. Later, I attended a banquet hosted by the Carter family. My brother mentioned they were scouting potential wives for Carter Jijong. But all evening, the chatter revolved around the Johnsons' downfall. Someone claimed Ryan had plagiarized designs for his past projects, another whispered he developed a drug habit, explaining his reckless spending and post-bankruptcy spiral. Suddenly, warm hands covered my ears. "Stop listening. Dance with me instead." Carter Jijong met my gaze. "I was wrong last time, I shouldn't have judged you so harshly." I understood his intentions, which was why I'd come tonight to set boundaries. After the charity gala incident, I realized he was no different from other entitled heirs. I wouldn't repeat past mistakes. "Mr. Carter, I've had too much to drink. Could you walk me to the entrance?" He paused, then nodded, draping his jacket over my shoulders with practiced courtesy. "Miss Wen just turned 24. Rumor says she's had a crush on you for years. Why not give her, and yourself, a chance?" I shrugged. "I've only been back from Germany 6 months. There's still so much to learn at the company. I appreciate the flowers you've sent, though. They've brightened the office." Carter had been sending roses weekly, a glaringly obvious courtship. But post-Ryan, I'd discovered I didn't crave romance as much as I'd thought. "If you consider me a friend, I'd be grateful. Thank you for the jacket. My driver's here." I handed it back without looking at him. Relief washed over me. At least he wasn't the clingy type. True to my words, Carter stopped sending gifts afterward. A month later, office gossip about Lily resurfaced. A cluster of female co-workers huddled near the water cooler. Voices sharp. "Did you hear? Ryan's ex tried seducing the Howard's youngest heir. Got publicly humiliated. Disgusting." Wasn't she the one who home-wrecked Ryan, forcing the chairman's sister to flee overseas? Some people never change, trash stays trash. Wait. I've got the video. Look. Peering over their shoulders, I glimpsed Lily's disheveled figure on a phone screen. My stomach twisted. What do you think you're doing? The woman jerked her phone away, stammering. Manager Clark. We were just defending your honor. The woman sitting across from me was seething with indignation, as if championing justice on my behalf. Are you implying I've fallen so low that I need you to exact revenge for me? Or do you all think I'm some petty, vindictive woman who'd wallow in self-pity over a man? That's not who I am. Emily. We didn't mean, one colleague stammered. But I cut them off. Recording private conversations isn't just unethical, it's illegal. Let's not have this discussion again. The group nodded awkwardly, falling silent. As for Lily, I didn't consider her crimes unforgivable or deserving of harsh punishment. If anything, I pitied her, throwing away everything for so-called true love, beyond anyone's salvation. My brother later terminated all 3 employees involved. Just as I planned to unwind with a beach vacation, Ryan reappeared, disheveled and unrecognizable at my doorstep. Emily. I know I messed up. He rasped. I'm not asking for reconciliation. But, my father, his voice broke. He's on his deathbed. His final wish is to see us make peace. Could you? Ryan. I sighed. You still don't understand me. I despise emotional blackmail more than anything. We're done. Shouldn't you focus on earning money for your father's treatment instead of groveling here? I turned to leave, but he stood rooted like a statue. Emily! He suddenly shouted. What were those 5 years together worth? You're heartless. My father treated you as his own daughter. His voice turned venomous. Heard you've been firing people on whims? Still playing the Ice Queen? I see. Evidence? I countered coolly. Slander carries legal consequences. Ryan. He lunged at me. Your 3 ex-employees are my evidence. Cooperate unless you want Clark Enterprises stocks to crash. Security guards swarmed in as I hit the panic button. I warned you, I said while they restrained him. My voice steady despite the pounding heart. His descent from golden boy to desperate stalker baffled me. Why cling to ashes when the fire died long ago? Later, my brother confirmed Mr. Johnson was simply hiding in shame at their old estate. Perfectly healthy. The bitter laugh escaped before I could stop it, almost fell for Ryan's lies again. When Ryan escalated to corporate defamation, I released our confrontation recording to authorities. The former romantic hero of high society became a convicted felon overnight, his downfall fueling gossip columns. As for Lily, rumor says she vanished into mountain villages. Perhaps this is how our story needed to end, 3 parallel lines that never should have intersected, finally returning to separate orbits.